At your funeral, your friends and family will argue over who gets your belongings. People will talk about the food and the venue. Your entire life will be summarized in 2 or 3 paragraphs. Conversations will shift from your life to their lives before the day is even over. Your friends will drive away thinking about what's next on their to-do list. Some people won't even make it because something came up. You're going to die. People will move on in weeks and not in years. And I know that sounds dark, right? But stay with me because this might be the most freeing thing you will hear all year. Let me tell you why this is good news. Think about what you did today, right? This week, this month, how much of it was actually for you and how much of it was for an audience. For example, the outfit you second guessed, the opinion you swallowed, the thing you didn't post, didn't say, didn't start because of what people might think of you. And now I want you to hold that against the funeral. The people whose opinions you're managing your entire life around will summarize your life within like 3 paragraphs, okay? And then they will drive home and think about their groceries. You are performing for an audience that is not even paying attention to you. They're too busy performing for their own audience, who's also not paying attention. Everyone is the main character of their own life and an extra in everyone else's. Once you actually understand that, the fear of judgment starts to look ridiculous. It starts to look stupid. And here's what gets it deeper, okay? Because most of us aren't just performing, we're postponing. I'll be happy when I lose the weight. I'll be happy when I get the money. I'll be happy when I find the partner. I'll be happy when I'm successful. Then I will finally be respected. Then life will finally work out. Be honest with yourself. How many times have you chased a goal, actually achieved it, felt good for a moment, and then immediately moved the goalpost? Then the itch came back, and then it was on to the next thing. You don't stay in the moment. There's always something you chase. Now listen to me. That's because the goal was never the thing you wanted. What you wanted was the feeling you thought the goal would give you. To feel loved, to feel enough, to feel accepted, to feel safe. You have heard the stories. People who got famous and felt empty. People who got rich and felt hollow. Why? Because they were chasing fame when they were actually seeking love. Chasing money when they were actually seeking safety. And no external thing can permanently give you an internal feeling. And this is actually a brutal combination, okay? You're postponing your life for a future feeling that the goal won't even deliver, to impress people who will move on from your death in weeks. And now I'm gonna tell you something very personal just to get the point through to you, okay? This is what my grandma used to tell me. The thing is, there's something very interesting about people at the end of their lives. They split into 2 groups. Some spent their last years shrinking, complaining, and counting regrets, and some are still worried about their wrinkles at 92. Genuinely envious of younger skin and still trapped in the same exact obsessions they had at 25. The obsession with how you look, what people think, how you're perceived, it does not stop on its own. It stops when you choose to stop it. And if you don't choose, you will carry it to the very end. They are different. They still have a sparkle in their eyes. They're curious, they're learning things, they're growing things, they're gardening, they're jumping out of planes at 85. They look in the mirror and they don't recognize the old person looking back, okay? And that is very important. The difference between the 2 groups is not money, it's not health, it's not luck. It's that the second group understood at some point that nobody was actually watching them, okay? That the audience they'd spent decades performing for had gone home. And once they understood that, they finally started doing what they actually wanted. The tragedy is how many people only figure it out at 80. You get to figure it out today. And that is what my grandma told me. Live your life. And now let me give you a taste of what freedom feels like when you live like no one is watching. Real freedom is when the thing that used to scare you doesn't scare you anymore. When you can speak in front of people without your heart racing. When the people who used to get under your skin don't affect you anymore. When you can look in the mirror and accept what you see fully, without the mental commentary. When you walk into a room and instead of thinking, what will they think of me? You think, I wonder who's here. I'm curious what I'll learn. That is real confidence, not the performed kind, not posting your life to prove it's going well, the kind where external things just don't have power over you anymore. Where nobody can trigger you because you're not outsourcing your worth to anyone. And here's the thing, that freedom is not something you can earn by achieving enough. It's something you claim by understanding what we talked about at the start. The audience isn't watching. The judgment you are afraid of is mostly in your head and the clock is running. So here's what took most people decades to understand and what I'm giving to you in one video. Everything you're chasing because of a feeling you think it will give to you, okay? You want to feel worthy? You're worthy right now because you exist, not because you achieved something. You want to feel safe? Choose to trust that things work out for you because they have every single time so far. Even the things that felt like disasters, okay? You want to feel loved? Stop waiting for someone to arrive and give it to you. Start giving it to yourself today. This doesn't mean stop having goals, dream big, build things, grow, but not because the goal will finally make you happy, because the process of growing is the actual point. The journey is the destination, okay? Not when you hit the number, not when you get the body, not when the channel blows up. This, right now, the building, the becoming, that's it. And when you reach the peak of the mountain, there's another mountain. And thank God there's another mountain. That's not the problem. That's the whole point of being alive. So yes, at your funeral, people will talk about the food. Your life will get 3 paragraphs. Everyone will move on in weeks. But that was never the tragedy. The tragedy will be spending the one life you have performing for that audience at your funeral. Postponing everything you actually want until someday that isn't promised. Nobody's watching as closely as you think. Nobody will remember the embarrassing thing. Nobody is keeping score. You're going to die. People will move on. So do what you want and start today.